Hi everybody. Welcome to my show at the amazing 111 Minna Gallery here in San Francisco. My show is called Revamp, and I'm sharing the space with the amazing Olympia Altimir, who you'll see later. I'm incredibly proud to be here and to show you some of my recent work with my LGBTQ plus community here in San Francisco and different places, but mostly San Francisco. So to kick off, the two opening images here for Revamp are two RuPaul girls who made their name on the TV show. This is Kimura Black, and this is Shangela. And both of these were taken in San Francisco. This one was at a club called Beau. I shoot a show there called Big Top Sundays, most Sundays. We're just about to come back to that after COVID. But pre-COVID, I was there most Sunday nights, always with a RuPaul girl. So I always had time to, a few minutes or so, to spend with the, before they went on stage, to do some amazing portrait with them. So this is one of those. But my work revolves around shooting on the fly. These are not studio photos. These are actually in the middle of a club. So it's crazy amount of people around, people screaming, a lot of fans, a lot of noise, and I try to sort of bring out this quiet moment with the star, and this is one of them. This is Shangela, and this was photographed backstage at the Castro Theater in San Francisco. Shangela has now exploded into stardom. She's now advertising BMW cars, which is just insane and wonderful, and a sign of progress finally being made with people who choose to live an alternative way of life, including myself. So this is backstage, and I'm very proud of this image. So that's that. So if you come into the main room, this is the main part of the show. So here in the corner we have Morgan McMichaels, again another RuPaul star, again shot at Beau on a Sunday night with a lot of noise, a lot of sound, a lot of crazy people having fun, and a quiet moment that we had together. Morgan's amazing, by the way. This was photographed, this is a show, I'm just going to switch around here. So this was a show that I photographed for about 6 years straight, every Thursday night at the Edge Bar in Castro, and it's called The Monster Show. And what I did was, instead of photographing all of the cast inside the club, I came up with this idea of taking them outside onto Collingwood Street. And I would create a Renaissance painting. So this isn't the Renaissance painting, but this is one of the stars of that show called Terry Twatwaffle, which is a really strange name, I know. But so Terry and I came up with this idea of this. We found this shopping cart, and the show had been about toys. So there were all these toys and ripped up toys. So I put her in the cage, and it's an homage to the Banksy painting, where there's a Banksy with a person inside a shopping cart. So that's that, yeah. I'm very, very proud of that image too. It's just crazy. Terry's completely nuts, and it kind of brings that out. This next photo image is, again, another RuPaul girl called Violet Chachki, who many of you will know if you watch RuPaul. And Boomer Banks, who's a very famous gay porn star. And this was backstage at Folsom Street Fair a few years ago. And I saw Violet and Boomer, and I asked them if I could create this image with them, and they were happy to do that with me. And I love it. Violet just always looks incredible, and Boomer is beyond handsome. And both very nice and easy to work with. This next one is a local queen called Abominatrix. Abominatrix never looks the same twice. She's a tour de force of creative energy, and this was her arriving at the Stud, the old Stud Club on 9th and Harrison, which is sadly no longer with us. Excuse me. The Stud will continue. The collective is still together, and I know they're looking for a new location. So as Obama arrived, I saw this dumper truck, and I put her inside the dumper truck, and it looks like she's just arrived in a spacecraft. So I adore it. The next one is, she's now moved to New York. This is Lachrymose. And Lachrymose This was a performance for the sober space, which is called Castro Country Club. And this was their annual harvest fair, and Lacrimose was the headline star that night. And this is a quiet moment we had before the show. So, okay. And the next one is, this is Punky Pebbles. Punky's she's actually now moved as well because of COVID, but I think she's moved to LA. But Punky was a staple here in San Francisco for many years, often performing at the Stud and different locations. And again, this was taken backstage in the dressing room of the old Stud, and I love it. I mean, the attention to detail is incredible for a late night show that most people won't remember because they're having too much fun. But with my camera, I get to immortalize these incredible moments in our culture. The next one is, this man is called Matthew Anderson, and Matthew, I met Matthew down at the very first, this was shot at the first DragCon, I think it was 2015, in LA. And this was a little party that RuPaul was throwing. And Matthew was Ru's makeup artist and stylist for many years and helped create her whole image. And when I met him, I didn't know who he was. I just was attracted to how incredible he looked. And he was incredibly easy to work with and a very nice person indeed, or is a very nice person. So that's Matthew. The next one is a local, incredible drag queen called Johnny Rocket. And Johnny runs many things, but there's a club that he does. It's just coming back in July called Rorschach, and that's at the Eagle. And Rorschach is the darker side of drag. So it's a lot of blood and gore and goth. So, and this photograph I took at the Lookout Bar in Castro in one of the mirrors, and again, surrounded by people and noise and chaos and fun, you know, typical busy bar. And I extracted this image from that scene, so, and I adore it. This is wonderful performer, Euphoria, also known as Peter Griggs, and part of the House of Glitter, and also was Duke of the Ducal Council for a while, so multi-talented, incredible performer, never looks the same twice. And this photo was taken outside the Oasis nightclub after a performance of, they did one of the Grace Jones albums. I can't remember which one right now. It's gone out of my head, sorry. But anyway, it was the Grace Jones album, and they did the whole album as a show, and it was incredible. And Euphoria was playing Grace, as you can see. So, yeah, that's that, and I love Euphoria. The next one is Erica Clash. Erica has really gone on to bigger and more grand things. She's becoming very famous indeed. And this was at a performance at Beau, and again, incredible look, unique, sort of again on the dark side of drag. Never the same twice. Incredible performer and lovely to work with. So she looks terrifying, but she's not. So anyway, there you go. That's that. And next one, up the stairs to the balcony. We have a series of 6 images here. So this really is such a strange collection of images, and I love it. Just to give you some idea of what I do, we'll start on the top left. That's San Francisco living icon Juanita Moore. This was at one of her Pride parties. It was about 4 years ago. Her Pride parties are legendary. She's actually having the first one this year after lockdown, this Sunday, Pride Sunday, the 27th. Again, never the same theme. The theme of this year that's photographed was the paying homage to Gilbert Baker. Gilbert was the creator of the rainbow flag, that we all has become synonymous with our queer movement, symbol of us. There are many variants now, I know that, but Gilbert came up with the original idea of the 8-color rainbow. So Juanita was paying homage to him, and that's why she's wearing a rainbow dress made by David Glamour Moore with the rainbow background. And when I was, this again was And what's the word? I can't think. I'm sorry, I've gone blank here. It was, we did not come up with this before the moment happened. I just saw her, and she was actually sitting on a bench. And I said, oh my God, with your handbag, her star clutch bag, I said, you look like Lady Liberty. So that's exactly what I created. So it's Juanita Moore, drag queen, mother to so many people in the city. Advocate for equal rights, the creator of the People's March, which we have the second People's March this Sunday too, with Alex Yuan. Raises tons of money for charities, gives it away, and is also the current Empress of San Francisco with the Imperial Council of San Francisco. So that's that image, and I love it. The next one across is Honey Mahogany. Honey was on a very, I think season 3 of RuPaul, a very early season. And Honey is a local star and now a politician. So again, fearless advocate for equal rights, trans rights, black rights, equity, basically through and through. Tireless campaigner and worker. And this was taken at DragCon. That was the first DragCon, and she was down there. The next one across is a friend of mine called, her name's Cunty. And Cunty was one of our travel mates to the first DragCon. And this was getting ready to go to that party that you saw Matthew Anderson at earlier. And this was us staying in that warehouse in LA. And Cunty was getting ready, and I just saw this whole thing with a light above her. And also the name now says C-U-N-T instead of you can't see the Y. So I kind of like that. Because she kind of is. But she's also very, very lovely too. The next one below is 2 famous people here. Local living legend, Peaches Christ, in the mirror there with the blonde hair. And then in the mirror down below, which is one image, it's not sort of a composite, we have Bianca Del Rio, who's one of the most successful, one of the most famous people who came out of RuPaul's Drag Race. And basically, Bianca is giving Peaches a stink eye because Peaches is in Bianca's mirror. And it was very funny. And I just happened to capture that moment. So that's that. And that was taken at the Castro Theater during one of Peaches' shows a few years ago. I can't remember which one. Next one across is Pheromone. Again, Farrah is from RuPaul. This was at Beau nightclub. Just sensational. I mean, it was like seeing a young Marilyn Monroe. Flawless. I was so close to her taking this photo, and it was just like, wow, she's an incredible performer. The whole look is just flawless, and every detail was beautiful. So I love it. And she had a great time during that night too, doing this performance. So next one across is a very funny one if you know Heclina from San Francisco. The mother of Tranny Shack that became Mother at Oasis. She was co-owner with Darcy Drollinger of the Oasis nightclub. And this was taken at one of the back exit, emergency exit of Oasis. We'd been inside having a cigarette together, and I said, you know what? I could just see you look like a caged lion, you know? So I jumped out of the cage, and we did that. And Heclina was enjoyed doing what I asked her to do, which was to roar like a lion. So yeah, that's that. Okay, and then back over here. So on this small wall here we have, again, this is in the Fez room of the now becoming iconic San Francisco Oasis nightclub. They opened on New Year's Eve, I think it was 2015. Been through some really hard times last year with COVID, but as Heclina stepped down before COVID, and Darcy, this is Darcy Drollinger and Sue Kasser. Darcy took over sole ownership of the property and of the business, and had a fundraiser a few months ago and raised over $300,000 to keep the club alive. And it just shows you the amount of community strength and spirit to keep a queer, safe space, entertainment space alive. We've lost so many over the last few years, and it's sort of got to a point with not one more, not one more. So Oasis is safe, and they reopen on Saturday the 26th, which is coming up. This was a fun photo I created. Sue and Darcy, I met them to do a photo shoot, and they were just standing, and they saw the look on my face, which was very bored, and they said, "What do you want us to do?" And I said, "Well, I want to throw you down the stairs." So they loved it, and that's exactly what we did. So I just love this image. It just shows the fun of drag, the personality of these people behind the scenes. It's like, drag is just really about having a good time, and it's a parody. You know, they're parodying themselves as well. It's like their alter ego. Yeah. So, and Sue is always sort of showing off her knickers. So whatever. This next one is this is a drag king, I suppose you'd call Profundity. I think. Drag performer. Profundity was in a show called Resist, the Downward Spiral, which was an album by the Nine Inch Nails. And this was a direct visual response to a certain president becoming president. I think his number was 45, so I'll leave it there. I don't want to get too political, but we all know how we feel about that. So this was a show showing our disgust as human beings at this certain person having this amount of power and being voted in by more than half of America. And in this, Profundity is a dollar shooting Pope, and the dollars say resist each dollar, and I still have some in my collection. So resist the downward spiral. It's one of my favorite images I've ever taken. Next one is very famous people. I've known the Boulet brothers for years. And they've become incredibly famous, rightfully so, during a show called Dragula. And I think they're on season, I don't know what they are now, 6 or 7 or something like that. Forgive me if I don't know. And this was many years ago at the Egyptian Theater in LA. So the wall you see behind is the outside of the Egyptian Theater, which is an incredibly beautiful Art Deco theater. And they were there for Nunway, which is a charity event run by the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. And we had a few moments together outside, and we caught up, chatted, and I took this photo. So they're always amazing. They're always flawless. They always dress identically. And they're just incredible. And Dragula has just become so globally successful. I'm so happy for them. And then onwards, a little bit of a gap, so we're going to walk down here. And then finally, at the end of my show, to the famous red door of 111 Minna Gallery, where I sort of stumbled through sort of 13 years ago when I first moved here and walked into this amazing space and was just blown away. And I wish my memory was good enough to remember who I saw here, but that first show. But the whole place is just incredible, and it's a dream. It's seriously a dream for me to be showing my work here. It's amazing and kind of very surreal right now to be here. So to finish the show, this is local, again, community activist, drag legend, Grace Towers. And Grace is a tour de force of energy, creativity, social organizing, and fundraising. And this was taken actually in her bedroom against a backdrop of flowers. And I'm very proud of it. It's one of my favorite images. I love that she's bearded too. There's a lot of bearded queens now, but at the beginning there weren't so many. It's sort of definitely a thing, and it's totally acceptable and totally fantastic. Okay, and the next one, this is Stanley Frank. Stanley is a staple of San Francisco. He now lives in LA. But he's backwards and forwards all the time, or he's an amazing DJ. He's an incredible performer. And this was from the same show, Resist the Downward Spiral. And Stanley played a capitalist pig, which is why he's dressed like a pig. And during his number, he stripped off to a pink bikini and pink high heels, and went mad on stage and was carted off as a crazy capitalist pig. I love this. This was taken at the rickshaw stop upstairs in the green room, actually the red room, actually the graffiti room. And if you look at the graffiti behind, there's dicks and stuff all over the place and gay stuff, and I just love it. I love the detail of that. You can see his high heels here. So that's that. And then the last one is, again, living legend. Verasphere. This is Vera Newman, and Vera and her husband Michael created something called Verasphere about 35 years ago, and it became sort of globally famous for this way of dressing, this way of creating something out of nothing. So the costumes are often made out of recycled things that people would throw away, all the hula hoops or straws or plastic baubles they buy in a dollar store. And this was actually taken at Dubois Park. They had a retrospective of their life's work and costumes at the Harvey Milk Photo Center. And I just asked Vera, we've become very close and very good friends, and she trusted me to take her away and walk through the park. And then I found this amazing bush with a hole in the ground. So I put her in the hole, and it's just Vera. Vera is all about nature and being amongst the woods and the trees and the flowers. And I love it. And then turning around here, finally, we have, again, the drag queen I pushed down the stairs at the Fez room with Darcy up there. This is Sue Kasser. Sue's a staple. She was one of the hostesses of the Monster Show at the Edge bar in Castro. The Monster Show is the longest running drag show in the Castro. I think it's in 15th year or 16th year now. And this shot was actually taken at Oasis, but I knew Sue from the Monster Show. So she was performing at Oasis, and I took her to the back alley that so many people maybe would know if you're in San Francisco and you went to Oasis. This is where we're going to have a cigarette or just get out of the heat and chat in the alleyway. And this is Sue pole dancing for me by the trash cans. So a very trashy Sue, as always. And then finally, if you can see that one up there, that's Ambrosia Salad. Ambrosia, again, a legend of drag here in the city, lives in LA now. And this was her one-woman show at the Stud Bar. And she was singing into a light bulb microphone, and an incredible show. And I just love this image. It captures, anybody who's been to the Stud recognizes the sparkly backdrop. And anybody who knows drag will know Ambrosia. So anyway, that's my show. It opens today, and I hope you can come down and come and see us, and with my wonderful Olympia Altimir, who's also showing in the other room, and you're going to see her soon. So come on down. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy it.
Hi everyone, my name is Olympia Altimir, and I'm so happy and thankful to be showing here at 111 Minna, especially right next to Gooch, who's the legend. I used to work here, so this feels like home and family, so thank you guys for having me. And yeah, my show is called L'Enfant Sauvage, which means the wild child in French. And it's inspired by this movie that came out in the 70s that is about this little kid who was found in the wild, and like in the woods, and he hasn't had any contact with like civilization, or like he doesn't know anything about social rules, and he gets adopted. So they try to basically teach him what society is, which I think is fascinating. I've always been very interested about human psychology and mankind and nature, and I think it's very interesting that somehow we create this distance between mankind and nature, and I think our society would be way more healthier if we kind of remove that boundary. So in my paintings, you see a lot of like nature elements, animals, human beings, and I try to kind of like blend them all together and create these stories that people can hopefully relate to it. And yeah, I'm also very fascinated by symbology, and especially for animals, I like how when people see an animal, they kind of like create their own story depending on their background and, you know, beliefs and all that. So yeah, the first painting, it's called Encantadores Serpientes. It's 18 inches by 24, and it's oil and wood. And I really enjoy painting snakes. You're gonna see a lot of snakes in my work because I think they're super fun to paint. But also, for me, they represent power and control because I have an older brother, and he's probably gonna hate me for this, but it's it's okay. He is terrified of snakes, so growing up for me, it was like a tool to defend myself, to just show him a picture of snakes, because he would be terrified of it. So yeah, here you go. But hopefully to different people it represents different things. This one is called With Her Came the Birds, and it's also oil on wood, and it's also 18 by 24. And this one was inspired by my dad. When I was a kid, he used to tell me all the time that I had a lot of birds in my head. I don't know if that translates in English, but in Catalan it basically means that you have a lot of unrealistic dreams. And yeah, but here I am in San Francisco presenting my solo show. So, maybe I wasn't that far off. So here you go. This one is called Fearless, and it's also 18 by 24. But this one is a little different because the background is acrylic, and then the face is oil, but the bottom is graphite, and the background that you can see, the brown is basically the wood showing through. So again, you can see another nature element. This one right here is called Green Blood, and it's also 18 by 24, and it's oil as well. And again, you can see nature elements. I really enjoy painting greenery. You have that little lizard. And I am very drawn to very cold people because I'm Spanish, and we're very emotional. So I really enjoy painting like people I would like to hang out with. This is my fun. And if we keep going, here we have this painting called Bow. I believe it's 18 by 24 as well. This one is oil on canvas. And here you can see my background. I come up from this tiny country up in the Pyrenees, and my safe place are the snowy mountains. So you can see the inspiration. But also I like to really include skulls in my work, because I think it's very important to be in peace with the concept of death, because I think it's part of our cycle, and the same way we're happy to be alive, we should be in peace with the fact that we're going to die, and that is going to make us healthier as human beings. And here we have this painting called Below Zero, also 18 by 24, and it's oil on wood. And yeah, I just wanted to create a very icy type of painting with a baby polar bear and very cool tones. And here we start with this kind of mini-series, and within the series that the medium is pan pastel that I discovered recently, which I love. It's this very compact powder and high in pigment, and you use little sponges to create the kind of drawings, but it helps you to create very contrasted pieces. So I really like it. And this piece is called Loba, and it's 18 by 24. It's pan pastel on paper plus the frame. And again, you can see my influence with the animals and the portraiture, and the connection between nature, and trying to, blend those boundaries between that distance that we try to create between mankind and nature, which I think should be removed. Here we have another piece that is also pan pastel and is 18 by 24 as well, and it's called White Tiger. And yeah, it was inspired by the White Tiger movie that came out on Netflix, which I really like, and you should watch if you haven't. This piece is called Papillon de Nuit. It's also pan pastel on paper plus the frame. And here you can see that contrast that you can get with the pan pastel, that I think it's harder to get with graphite and those mediums. And yeah, I really like that depth and kind of mystery that you can create with that contrast. Here we have another piece called Luna, also pan pastel on paper, but this one is a little different because I used silver leaf, and I used different layers of silver leaf to create texture, and I wanted to create that reflective quality that the moon has. So hopefully I got that. And again, you can see the mountains and how, it's kind of like my influence and where I come from, and the animals and everything. This one is called Everglades. Again, pan pastel on paper, 18 by 24 inches. And this one was inspired by my friend who forced me to basically go to the Everglades and go see the alligators and hold an alligator, which I was terrified by it. But again, just like blending those boundaries between human nature and nature itself, which I think we should do somewhere. And here I have another piece called Stronger Than All. This one is a little different because it's two different pieces of paper. I first did the bottom drawing, and I drew her and kind of burned the edges. And I like to kind of relate people with animals, because I think like some people have certain qualities that remind me of some animals. So I was looking at her and I was like, oh, I'm gonna do this background full of butterflies because she looks like so soft and quiet and so classy. But then I was like, no, she's like so badass and strong. So I decided to go with a rhino, and I think it looks really cool to see that contrast between her being so like soft and the rhino being so badass. And here again, we have another pan pastel piece that is also 18 by 24, and also plus the frame. And I also burned the edges, but here I kind of had to stop with that technique because I got sick with the smoke. Yeah. And here we have another oil painting on wood. We go back to the oil painting. And I believe the widest part is 36 inches. And here we see different elements. Like I like the citrus part, the lemons, just to go back to that saying of like when life gives you lemons. When life gives you lemons, you make lemonade, right? And which, this last year and a half has been pretty hard. So I really like that saying and thinking of that. And we go back to that skull too, which reminds me of death and how we should be in peace with that. So it's kind of like a weird piece, but you get the concept. And these two connect together again. We have the lemons, and this is the first painting I did in 2021. Actually, I did it during New Year's Eve. I started in New Year's Eve. And again, I was looking back at 2020 and thinking, it's been a tough year, but at the same time, we all got lessons, and it was like a very interesting year in a way. And if you can see the little ladybugs just representing hope. So yeah, and this one is also oil on wood, and I believe it's 20 inches round. And here we have another very special piece that is called Underwater, but the model is Emily, who I met here at 111 Minna. We used to work together, and she's a very good friend of mine. She's part of the Minna family, and she just became a mom, so congratulations, Emily. And we love her, so yay. And here we have this piece called Conversations with Death, which I think it's 24 inches round, and it's oil on wood. And it goes back to that concept of just, being in peace with death as part of our cycle, because that makes life so much more worth it when you just accept it. And what do you have here? This piece is called Stone the Crow, and it's inspired by this saying we have in Spanish that if you raise crows, they're gonna pull out your eyes. I don't know if there's an equivalent in English, but you know, it's just, again, I really like symbology and animals and how we can relate to them and how they tell stories. So here you go. And this one is called Loyalty. Yeah, I think it's 16 inches by 12 inches, and it's oil on wood. And on this one, it's kind of like a simple painting, but I really like how people see wolves as a very loyal animal and a very majestic animal. So for me, loyalty is like the most, loyalty and honesty are the most important qualities that you can ask for somebody who's your friend or that you have a relationship with. So that was the inspiration of that painting. And this one is called Skeletonized. And here we go again with the concept of death and life and death as a cycle, and how it's important to, appreciate both of them. And, like once you accept that we are part of nature, and it's obvious that we are part of a cycle, and then we come from the ground, and then we're going to end on the ground. It's kind of dark, but if you accept it, it makes things easier. And this piece is called The Outsider. It's 16 by 20, and it's a mixed media piece. And this one has acrylic, oil, and this part is concrete. So it comes back to that initial concept of just coming from the wild, but also being integrated in society and that concrete kind of life. And it's hard, but I think if we connect the both of them, we can make things better and healthier. And the last one, the name of the piece is Flaminga. It's 18 by 24, and it's oil on canvas. And then I added this frame, and I kind of painted the edge. And again, it's just one of those pieces that I just wanted to create, like this portrait of this person that connects with an animal, and the attributes of the animal kind of connect with her, and just blending the boundaries between nature and mankind. And that's pretty much. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope you can come and see the show in person. It's going to be up for a month and a half, and yeah, thank you so much.